With NHL camp set to open up in under a week's time, there are a number of veteran NHLers thinking maybe just one more year. And that list includes Phil Kessel. We'll talk about it. Chris Johnston, our hockey insider, joins us from his home office. Frankie Corrado here in studio. Guys, this much we know about Phil Kessel. He is a three-time Stanley Cup champion, but he's going to be 36 before puck drops on this NHL regular season. He only played 4 games during the Vegas Golden Knights Stanley Cup playoff run last year. CJ, is anybody seriously thinking about signing him or merely willing to offer a PTO?
No, absolutely. There are multiple teams that are still in conversation with Phil Kessel and his agent about the possibility of bringing him in on a contract. And it doesn't seem as though Kessel at this point in time is at the PTO stage where he has to go to a camp and prove himself. And I think what's important here is a couple things to underline. Yes, he's 36, but he's played 13 straight seasons in their entirety in terms of regular season. He's the NHL's Iron Man, but he's also indicated to teams through his agents that he is willing to have that streak snapped. He understands at this point in time he's likely not going to be an everyday player for a team, but what he can bring was on display last year in Vegas. He still put up some offensive numbers for that team, and I think that certainly at this stage of his career, you're not looking at a big contract. You're not looking at a veteran player who expects to be in for every back-to-back, say. And on top of that, look how the Golden Knights responded to Kessel. He was a popular teammate last year, and he still has a burning desire to play. I've been told right from the minute they won their third Stanley Cup, he won his third Stanley Cup in Vegas, his focus was on returning. There was no period of reflection here where he thought about retirement.
A desire to play, I get that. Frankie, you played a couple seasons with him in Pittsburgh during your time there. I know he wants to play, but can he still contribute given his style of play?
First of all, a couple seasons is very generous. Thank you, Gino. But CJ's right. He's a very popular guy, and it might not make sense for a team that's going to be lower in the standings because he's not that traditional mentor kind of guy. But on a good team, an established team, that kind of guy in the dressing room who can keep things lighthearted at times when there's a lot of pressure, whether it's internally or externally, that's a guy that goes a long way in a dressing room like that. And Gino, as far as his game goes, I look at it a scenario like this. If you're a team that's going to be a pretty good team, but your minor league depth maybe might not help you if you're going to call guys up, and you don't want to disrupt some of the development of some of those players, having them do the yo-yo up and down. There's your guy who you can keep on your roster. He might not play every single night, but he gives you a little pop lower in the lineup. And how many times throughout the course of a season, we're doing a show, we talk about teams that need scoring lower in the lineup. They just don't have it. They have the grit. They have the tenacity. They don't have that scoring lower in the lineup. Maybe a good team like a Colorado, a Carolina, that's where Phil Kessel fills that void this season.
And he's made it clear, like you say, CJ, he doesn't have to play every day. Not worried about that Iron Man streak, so who knows? Chris Johnston and Frankie Corrado.